Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, I want to first say to all of you, would you please go to the Bulldog Show on YouTube and subscribe to my show. I want everyone to know that I am doing this video in the Bulldog Media Studios in Independence, Kentucky, which has nothing to do with Deters Law. And I'm about ready to do this video as the president and CEO of Bulldog Media. You know what, folks? It's been too long since I've done one of these. And I haven't done one for a long time, simply waiting and waiting and waiting for some action. But this is about the Dr. Durrani victims and the fact that Deters Law represents them, which I am not the owner of Deters Law, nor am I an attorney at Deters Law. I am somebody who's allowed under my First Amendment rights to speak out for these people, and I will. The Ohio justice system should be ashamed of themselves. If you filed a lawsuit in Hamilton County any time in the last 7 to 8 years, your case is long over. But if you're a victim of the butcher of Pakistan, Dr. Durrani, it's not. That makes absolutely no sense. The law requires, under the Supreme Court's own rules, that the cases be resolved in 3 years, and it's ignored. And I want you to know that lawsuits have been filed in state court, federal court, writs in the Supreme Court to enforce that rule. In the Ohio Supreme Court, in the federal courts, ignore it. Ignore it. It is inexcusable, it's unjustified, and it's wrong. The absolute ridiculousness of it all is unfathomable. You know, some of the most practical, common sense people that you'll ever meet are builders and contractors. My wife and I are recently building a new home. And, you know, you talk to these people all the time. And they ask about the Durrani cases, and you explain it to them. And they're all like, what? What do you mean? No trial, 7, 8 years? What? One at a time? What? And it's like everybody just says that the Hamilton County system just says, well, you know, we can't help. There's 14 Hamilton County Common Pleas judges. Why should any case in Hamilton County gets to go to trial before these people? Why? It's ridiculous. It's absurd. There isn't one person on the face of the earth in this country that could sit there and say, oh, well, that makes sense. Because it doesn't make any sense. I want to also announce that Deters Law has actually filed more lawsuits because some children that were harmed who are still of age to where their time hasn't expired, so they're filing more lawsuits. There's no gag order on those lawsuits, by the way. They're against Children's Hospital, Westchester, UC Hospital. Folks, the Durrani litigation needs judges who care in federal court and in state court. I want to now cover the incomprehensible suffering. And I'm going to actually read this because I don't want to forget it. We're going to put this on the screen. In the history of jurisprudence, no group of citizens in America have suffered more incomprehensible injustice than the Durrani victims. Unnecessary spine surgery, state-sealed verdicts. Never in American history has a public jury trial verdict been sealed. The local news media doesn't move to unseal them. Unjust laws such as the statute of repose and limitations on damages in Ohio. Over 7 years and only 40 trials. 62 have died. 10 more have died since I went to jail when 52 have died. Over 40 have had to file bankruptcy. Countless foreclosures, evictions, and lawsuits by creditors. Judges who should have recused themselves, not recusing themselves. State gag orders. Lack of media coverage except News 5. Unfair state rulings on fraud. In other words, you have a fraud claim, but then you're not allowed to present all the evidence for fraud. Coddling by Dr. Durrani at the state court. More concern about Durrani, who fled the country and is in Pakistan, than the victims. That's a fact. That's a fact. Liens to deal. The hospitals who've settled, and those settlements are confidential, but then there's an excruciating process to resolve medical liens. Do you believe this, folks? The insurance companies, Medicare, Medicaid, approved an unnecessary spine surgery, and then when the victims get some money, they have to be fought to get the liens, the medical liens, because they want to get reimbursed for what they paid on approving the unnecessary spine surgery. And Deters law has to fight that process, and have been doing so very well despite it. The state court won't allow reputation, credibility, or impeachment evidence, which is common on all trials. The state court gives no sanction against Dr. Durrani. The state court does not tell the juries the truth of Durrani's absence. The state court will not allow BMP2 increased risk of cancer evidence. The state court would not allow one filing number for filings increasing court costs. They make us file in 500 cases instead of just one. Plaintiffs will be gravely prejudiced if one of our experts die. We've got experts working on this case for 7 years. What if one of them dies? We got to get a whole new expert. The state court set on post-trial motions for 1 year, delaying appeals of our victories for a year. Medical Protective, the insurance company, they just don't want to do anything because they know the state court system. The state court system is almost like a co-conspirator with the insurance company of Durrani, because Medical Protective knows that the state court system is allowing them to delay. Then COVID hits, and there's been no trial since January. Do you think Hamilton County and the state of Ohio are going to have trials in January? They're all wimps. And then last but not least, Deters law. And I'm going to look in the camera and just tell everybody this. The victims, the attorneys, all the lawyers that hate us, the judge, the judges, the defense lawyers. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, you're looking at the guy who finances the litigation. I assure all of you, that I will die broke and living on the street before we ever stop funding this litigation, no matter what. I got the money to do it, and I'm going to do it. And we are going to get justice that these people deserve. It shouldn't take 7 more years, judges. It shouldn't take 7 more years, Maureen O'Connor. It shouldn't take 7 more years, Judge Reese. Shouldn't take 7 more years, Judge Little Bitty Chuck Kubicki. It's shameful. And the day is going to come when all of you are going to be victimized by public scorn through books and documentaries and movies and television series where you will be depicted for what you are. You will be depicted for what you are. Judge Schweikert, after all the harm he does sitting down in Florida golfing, the word Schweikert will be synonymous with judicial corruption. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. The Durrani victims are going to have their day.